In the world of fighter jets, success is often measured in terms of speed, agility, and technological dominance. But not every aircraft that rolled off the production line lived up to its hype. Some of them were marketed as game changers, promising unmatched power, futuristic features, and battlefield superiority. Yet, when the time came, they fell short, miserably. Today, we're diving deep into the 5 fighter jets that failed so badly, they became cautionary tales in aviation history. From overambitious designs to catastrophic engineering flaws, these aircraft remind us that not every billion-dollar project guarantees success. In the late 1950s, Lockheed introduced what was supposed to be the fighter jet of the future. The F-104 Starfighter looked like something straight out of a science fiction movie. It was sleek, needle-like, and designed to break speed records. And it did. This jet could soar past Mach 2, making it one of the fastest fighters of its era. So why is it on this list? Because speed came at a deadly cost. The Starfighter had tiny, razor-thin wings, designed for high-speed performance at extreme altitudes. But that design was disastrous for low-speed handling. Pilots described landing this jet as trying to balance on the head of a pin. It was unforgiving, unstable, and prone to stalls during approach. Accidents started piling up. In Germany alone, where hundreds of F-104s were deployed during the Cold War, over 290 jets crashed, killing more than 100 pilots. The media called it the Widowmaker, and for good reason. The aircraft also had primitive avionics and no true all-weather capability, meaning it struggled in poor visibility and combat conditions. What was supposed to be a versatile, reliable interceptor ended up being a death trap for NATO pilots. The F-104's story is a reminder that raw speed doesn't win wars. Survivability, reliability, and maneuverability matter just as much. Number 2, Yak-38 Forger, the Soviet VTOL disaster. Next up, we have the Yak-38 Forger, the Soviet Union's attempt at building a vertical takeoff and landing, VTOL, fighter to rival the British Harrier jump jet. On paper, it sounded incredible, an aircraft that could operate from small decks and improvised airfields without needing long runways. In reality, the Yak-38 was a mechanical nightmare. The biggest problem? It could barely carry any weapons when taking off vertically. If it wanted to use its VTOL capability, it had to ditch most of its payload and fuel, drastically reducing range and firepower. That completely defeated the purpose of having a fighter in the first place. Its engines were unreliable and consumed massive amounts of fuel, meaning the Yak-38 could only stay in the air for about 15 to 20 minutes during combat missions. Yes, you heard that right, barely enough time to take off, fly a short distance, and return before running out of fuel. The Soviets deployed it on their Kiev-class carriers, but it was a logistical headache. Maintenance crews hated it, pilots didn't trust it, and Western analysts considered it practically useless in real war scenarios. When compared to the British Harrier, which saw major success in the Falklands War, the Yak-38 looked even worse. It was slow, had poor maneuverability, and its combat record was, well, non-existent. It never fired a shot in anger. Eventually, the Yak-38 was retired and replaced by more conventional aircraft. Today, it's remembered as a bold experiment that simply didn't work. Number 3, the F-35 Lightning II, the billion-dollar controversy, intro. Now let's talk about the most controversial fighter jet in modern history, the F-35 Lightning II. Developed as part of the Joint Strike Fighter program, this aircraft was supposed to be the ultimate multi-role fighter, combining stealth, advanced sensors, and versatility into one platform for multiple branches of the military. The concept was ambitious, one aircraft to do it all: air superiority, ground attack, electronic warfare, and reconnaissance. But that ambition came with a price tag, asterisk over $1.7 trillion in projected lifetime costs asterisk, making it the most expensive weapons program in history. And here's the kicker, despite its staggering cost, the F-35 has faced endless technical issues, software glitches, unreliable engines, problems with its stealth coating, and even a notorious issue where the pilot's helmet alone costs $400,000 and sometimes malfunctions. The aircraft's development was plagued by delays, years behind schedule, billions over budget. Critics argue that the F-35 is a jack of all trades, master of none. While it boasts advanced stealth and sensors, it sacrifices raw speed and maneuverability compared to older fighters like the F-16. And let's not forget about its combat record, or rather, the lack of one. Despite being deployed for years, the F-35 has rarely seen actual combat compared to cheaper, proven platforms. Stay tuned, because the worst is yet to come. So, why exactly has the F-35 become one of the most polarizing fighter jets in history? Let's break it down further. The biggest issue with the F-35 is complexity. In trying to make one aircraft serve three different branches of the U.S. military, the Air Force, Navy, and Marines, the designers created a logistical nightmare. For example, the Navy wanted a carrier-capable version with stronger landing gear and a tail hook. The Marines demanded a short takeoff and vertical landing variant for their amphibious ships. The Air Force wanted a conventional fighter optimized for air dominance. Trying to satisfy all three led to massive compromises. The result? An aircraft that's not fully optimized for any single mission. Add to that the mountain of maintenance requirements. The F-35 stealth coating, for instance, needs constant attention, and its advanced electronics require specialized care. Then there's the performance debate. Pilots have complained that the F-35 doesn't outturn older fighters like the F-16 in dogfights. In fact, one U.S. Air Force report admitted that during training, the F-35 struggled in close-range combat against legacy aircraft. That's a big deal for something that was supposed to be the most advanced fighter ever built. Despite these flaws, the F-35 remains in service, and is slowly improving. It has incredible sensors, advanced networking capabilities, and a stealth profile that makes it nearly invisible to older radar systems. But is it worth the price? Many say no. The aircraft has become a symbol of overpromised technology and runaway defense spending. Now, let's move on to our fourth failure, a jet that didn't make headlines like the F-35 but still became a financial disaster for its country. Number 4, Mitsubishi F-2, Japan's billion-dollar blunder. In the 1980s and 1990s, Japan wanted a homegrown fighter jet to replace its aging F-1 fleet. The plan was to build a cutting-edge aircraft with stealth features and advanced avionics. To achieve this, Japan teamed up with the United States, using the F-16 as a base design for what would become the Mitsubishi F-2. On paper, the F-2 looked promising. It had a larger wing area than the F-16, advanced radar, and Japanese-made components. But then came the cost. Each F-2 ended up costing over $120 million per unit, nearly 4 times the price of an F-16. Why? Because Japan produced only a small number of them, and developing unique parts in low quantities drove up expenses astronomically. The aircraft didn't offer a dramatic performance advantage over the much cheaper F-16. In fact, many experts questioned why Japan didn't just buy more F-16s or later, F-35s, at a fraction of the cost. The F-2 wasn't a terrible fighter in terms of capability, but it was a colossal financial misstep. When you spend billions developing a jet that offers only marginal improvements over an existing design, it's hard to call that a success. Today, the F-2 is still in service, but its legacy is a cautionary tale about the dangers of chasing national prestige at the expense of practicality. Number 5, Sukhoi Su-57 Felon, Russia's fifth-gen dream that fell apart. Finally, we come to the Sukhoi Su-57, Russia's answer to the American F-22 and F-35. Announced with great fanfare in the late 2000s, the Su-57 was supposed to put Russia back on top of the fighter jet game. It promised stealth, super cruise, advanced avionics, and a powerful weapons suite, all at a fraction of the cost of Western designs. But reality didn't match the hype. First, the aircraft faced endless delays, years went by, and only a handful of prototypes were built. Then came the technical problems. The engines failed to deliver true fifth-generation performance, forcing Russia to rely on upgraded older engines instead of brand-new ones. Its stealth shaping and coatings were also widely criticized by Western analysts, who noted that the Su-57's radar cross-section was nowhere near as low as the F-22 or F-35. And then there's production. As of today, Russia has only a small handful of operational Su-57s, a far cry from the hundreds originally promised. Sanctions, budget constraints, and supply chain issues have crippled the program. To make matters worse, one of the first serial production Su-57s crashed during a test flight, dealing a major blow to confidence in the program. While the Su-57 looks impressive on airshow stages, in reality, it's become a symbol of unfulfilled promises and economic limitations. Conclusion: lessons from failure. So, what do these 5 jets teach us? They remind us that military aviation is a high-stakes gamble. Nations pour billions into developing next-generation fighters, but success isn't guaranteed. Sometimes, political pressure, overambition, or flawed design philosophies lead to spectacular failures. The F-104 showed us that raw speed isn't everything. The Yak-38 proved that copying a concept without proper engineering can lead to disaster. The F-35 demonstrates what happens when complexity spirals out of control. The F-2 warns against letting prestige override practicality. And the Su-57? It's a modern lesson in the limits of ambition without resources to match. At the end of the day, these aircraft may have failed their original missions, but they left behind valuable lessons that continue to shape the future of fighter jet design.